What's going on, guys? Bergs here from the Casual Athlete, and it's time for Zero Tackles tips for round 17. Let's get into it. First up, we have Origin on Wednesday night this week at the MCG, and we may as well throw it in there as part of round 17 to get the blood flowing. I do like the changes that the Blues have made for this game. I expect us to start really well, and also the thing going in the Blues' favour this week is the fact that they have won the last two games played at the MCG by pretty considerable margins. Now, as I said, I do like the changes that they've made coming in to this game. I think Connor Watson is going to provide that energy off the bench, as well as give guys like Reece Robson a break, who played 80 minutes in game one, and you don't really want your hooker to be playing that kind of minutes in a massive game like that. I do think for the Queenslanders, they have had another misstep in not picking David Fifita. I know they got through game one without him, but they did miss some size and a little bit of impact through the middle there, and I think David Fifita could have helped him out with that one. But I think the Blues get a win in this game. I got to expect them to bounce back big as well. I'm going to go the Blues 13 plus. The first NRL game of round 17 takes us to a core stadium where the Dogs take on the Sharks. Now, the Sharks are shooting for 7 in a row this week against Canterbury, but I think Canterbury can be thankful that the game is at a core stadium where the Sharks don't exactly have the best record all time. There's a couple of changes coming in for the Dogs as well this week. They'll be bolstered by the likes of Viliami Kikau, and Bronson Xerri also comes back into the centres for this one. Stephen Crichton's also been listed amongst the reserves, so we'll have to wait and see if he backs up for Origin. Whereas the Sharks, on the other hand, they had the bye last week and should be well rested for this game. I do like teams coming off the bye this year, and I do think the Sharks get a win in this one, especially with Nico not getting that Origin jersey. I expect him to have a massive game, but I do expect the Dogs to show up on defense. Sharks 1 to 12. Super Saturday round 17 starts in Auckland, where the Warriors take on the Broncos. Now, the Warriors had big news during the week as Sean Johnson has gone down with an Achilles injury. It seems to be the one that hampered him a bit earlier in the season as well, and he will be out for the next month, possibly the rest of the season. Now, I actually think of that as a little bit of a positive for the Warriors. Sean hasn't really been himself the last couple of weeks, and you can see that on the field. And when Tamari Martin was in that number 7 role, he definitely stepped up. For the Broncos, their Origin players have been listed on the bench in Reece Walsh, Payne Haas, and Pat Carrigan. So we'll see if those guys can back up for this Origin game. It is on Saturday, so there is a little bit of a shorter turnaround for some other teams playing on Sunday and things like that. But I do expect the Warriors to get a win here. They're languishing down in 13th position right now. And I think with Sean out of the side, Tamari Martin really takes the game on and really puts it in his hands. Warriors 1 to 12. Continuing on, our next game starts at McDonald Jones Stadium where the Knights take on the Eels. Now, I actually like the Eels a lot in this game. They have a great record against the Knights, especially at McDonald Jones Stadium over the last 5 years. They've won their last 3 games at McDonald Jones Stadium and are shooting for an impressive 7 in a row against the Knights. They are also last on the competition ladder, and you have to take that into account at the moment. I do feel like Parramatta don't deserve to be there right now. They are better than the 17th best team in the competition. I know they sacked their coach. I know there's a lot of talk around the club and how they should be doing a lot better, but I think they get a win this week. It's good to see for the Knights as well that Will Price will be making his debut. No doubt that will be a massive thing to watch, but I've got to go the Eels here, 13 plus. Saturday night, we're at Amy Park for the Storm taking on the Raiders. Now, the Raiders have a pretty decent record down at Amy Park. It's just kind of fallen away a little bit over the last couple of games there, but they do have some confidence going down to the southern state to play the Storm. I do find it interesting that Jack Howarth has been named in the centres this week. Obviously, Remus Smith is still out with an injury, and Coates and Harry Grant are expected to back up from Origin as well, so we'll see how that shapes out. The Storm are impressive at the moment. They're first on the competition ladder and just keep finding a way to win games. And you can obviously tell the Raiders lately have been lacking that energy, that vibrance, that will to compete in games at the moment. It wasn't present in the Cowboys game, and it certainly wasn't present last week against the Tigers. Unfortunately, I just don't see them going down and beating the competition leaders at the moment. We got to go the Storm, 13 plus. Sunday afternoon footy starts at Netstrata Jubilee Stadium where the Dragons take on the Dolphins. Now, all Origin players have been named on the team list to play this game, and we'll have to see if they back up. All of them did in the previous Origin week, so you'd have to think that that will happen once again. The Dragons will want to forget the last time they played the Dolphins earlier this year, ending in a 38-0 drubbing, and I think the Dolphins at the moment are one of the most underestimated teams, not only now at this stage in the season, but even before the season. And I myself have overlooked the Dolphins quite a bit. I'm not overlooking them in this game. I do think they go down to Netstrata Jubilee and get a win here. It will be their second win in Sydney for the year, but I just think with the hammer back in the side, it gives them that extra potence. And if this game was at Wynn Stadium, I'd be a little bit more inclined to tip the Dragons, but it's not. So I'm going to go the Dolphins, 13 plus. Out to Bluebet we go for the Cowboys taking on the Panthers. Now, the Cowboys have named all of their Origin players bar Jeremiah Nanai on the extended bench this week, whereas the Panthers have named all of their Origin players in the starting team this week. So, very interesting strategies. I expect, most players just to relay the message to Todd saying, hey, we're not fit for this game. We can't go down to Penrith and put in at 100%. But I think for the Cowboys, this is a little bit of a bridge too far for me this round. I do expect the Cowboys to really build towards the end of the season. 6 of their last 9 games are at home, and they also have 2 buys on the way. So they're going to get an extra 4 points, and they just slipped into the top 8 last week as well with a 2 points from the bye. So I don't expect them to get a win in this game specifically. I just think the Panthers are going to be a little bit too strong. But keep your eye out for the Cowboys to make the 8 this year. I'm going to go the Panthers, 1-12. The last game of round 17 is at Allianz Stadium, and it's the Roosters taking on the Tigers there this week. For the Roosters, they're shooting for 8 in a row against the Tigers. The Tigers have not beaten the Roosters since 2018, and 2018 is also a significant year for the Tigers, as it's the last time that they won 3 NRL games in a row during the regular season. I think this week may be a little bit too far off the pace for the Tigers. Yes, they had an impressive performance last week, but I'd love to see them back it up week to week to really earn my tip. I'm going to be going the Roosters in this one. Connor Watson and Angus Crichton have been named to play despite playing Origin during the week, but they have right up until Sunday afternoon to recover for the game. Tigers don't have any Origin players in this one, and they are injury riddled at the moment, but it didn't stop them last week, and hopefully they can come out with that same energy, that same effervescence that saw them put an absolute score on the Raiders. And how good was it to see Adam Dewey on his return? Brilliant try to run all the way to the end zone and get the ball down. Brilliant moment for the game, but I got to go the Roosters here, 13 plus. So that's it for my tips on zero tackle this week, guys. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you on the next one.